The Pulsera Project started when a group of family and friends took a trip to Nicaragua, and we wanted to combine adventure and volunteerism.
So we met this group of artisans who made these beautiful hand-woven bracelets, but didn't really have a market to sell them. So we decided to bring some back to the United States and sell them to our friends and family.
When we were starting out, it was just a complete experiment. We began partnering with students and teachers in schools all across the country.
Since then, the Pulsera Project has partnered with thousands of schools across the US.
As the Pulsera Project formed, it began to have these three clear components: employment, education, and then impact.
Early on in the project, we had a limited view of how to help people. We did a lot of donations of things, clothing, shoes. We brought a lot of things down that we gave to people.
As we started to listen more to the people we worked with, we began to unlearn a lot of our preconceived notions and stereotypes.
Bringing down donations and distributing them was really easy, but we soon realized that there's really no single cure for poverty. And what we needed to do for sustainable, lasting change was create opportunities.
Every component of the Pulsera Project is guided by our 4 values:
humility, solidarity, self-reflection, and rethinking poverty.
We really had to develop a sense of humility and be humble in our relationships with these groups and communities.
With solidarity, you look at people in an equal way, and you're not imposing a hierarchy where we're up here and you're here.
To even start that process of self-reflection, we had to sit down and realize that we had a lot to learn about the roots of economic poverty and understand a lot of the ways that people often go wrong in trying to address them.
In the beginning, we were just bringing our own ideas, which was about as useful as barging into someone's home and trying to solve their family's problems.
From a humanitarian perspective, you first got to recognize there's a lot of challenges we face to create a more just and equitable world. The realities in Nicaragua are very different from those in rural Guatemala, and those are very different from realities here.
Problemas económicos de Centroamérica tienen una larga historia que parte de una serie de situaciones políticas y eventos naturales que ha dejado a una región bastante empobrecida desde el punto de vista económico.
La gente de nuestro país, de Guatemala, son personas trabajadores, pero no tienen un trabajo que sean pagados de una manera justa.
El trabajo de campo en la actualidad no es bien pagado. Un jornal está entre los 35 a 40 quetzales. Irse a la ciudad a otro tipo de trabajo están ganando más o menos 75.
Y por lo mismo es que muchos jóvenes están migrando. Entonces eso los induce a que ellos busquen nuevas opciones, busquen un nuevo camino y siempre con aquello que decimos el sueño americano, ¿verdad?
Cuando ven que les dificultan sostener la familia, entonces se deciden ir a buscar otras oportunidades para que hacen realidad sus sueños.
Aquí en Navalá existe mucho la pobreza, aunque ellas quieren seguir estudiando, pero si no hay medio, no se puede. Hay algunos que llegan solo a sexto.
Es difícil para los jóvenes que puedan tener un trabajo y al mismo tiempo estudiar. Nos ponen en la balanza de decir, bueno, yo como joven o estudio o trabajo, ¿qué pesa más? Cuando en realidad el apoyo de familia no se puede dar, pues es trabajar.
Our work in Central America begins with creating opportunities for artisans to just have a steady income from which they can take care of themselves and their families and have control over their own life.
Le permite al artesano o a la artesana trabajar desde casa mientras todavía comparte tiempo con la familia. No planteamos una cantidad determinada de pulseras que tenga que hacer.
Ese apoyo que se recibe para los artesanos jóvenes y adolescentes está ayudando prácticamente la economía del hogar. El hacer pulsera sirva como terapia, sirva de relajación, sirva de motivación.
The Pulsera Project does have full-time artists, but we also create fair trade part-time jobs for students who want to continue their educations and be able to work at the same time.
Entonces eso les ayuda a pagar la colegiatura, a comprar su material, va a ayudar a autosostenerse, ¿verdad? Ellos mismos con todo lo que necesitan para su estudio.
Fair trade principles suggest that we ought to start with a fair market value. But a fair market value in Central America typically means maintaining poverty. So in most cases, we pay artisans 2 to 3 times what is established by fair trade.
Lo que un artesano local puede ganar vendiéndolo en un puesto de la calle, en un mercado, versus lo que se está haciendo con Pulsera Project, sí hay una brecha muy amplia, ¿no? Entre cuanto a posibilidades, porque sabes que lo que se está haciendo aquí tenés un mercado fijo. Prácticamente ser tu jefe sí trae muchas ventajas, ¿no?
After employment, our second component is education. And our educational mission is to help students understand the realities of others and what connects people across borders.
I love the Pulsera Project because it brings all the communities to my students. They learn what fair trade is, they learn about this organization, and then they get to open their own fair trade market at our school.
It's really important that students connect with the artists, and that's why every Pulsera is tagged with a photo and the signature of the artist who made it.
They get really excited, they want to learn who the person is that made the Pulsera, where they came from, they want to get their story.
There's a lot of resources available for my students to have that educational component, but then also feel like they're making a difference and can spread awareness by wearing and buying a Pulsera.
Students are also encouraged to think about their own consumption habits and reflect on the value of fair trade, which not only provides meaningful employment, but also allows communities and cultures to stay intact.
Many of the goods that we buy are produced in sweatshops or other locations where workers are maltreated, and we believe it's very important that we understand that our consumer choices have an impact in other countries.
It's not just a service project they're participating in. They start to feel this solidarity with the artists and with the communities that they're looking at. They realize too that just because you live in a different economic bracket does not mean that you're any lesser of a human, not just through the lens of their singular experience.
The proceeds from Pulsera sales in schools are invested in our third component, impact.
Over the years, money raised from Pulsera sales has been invested in dozens of Central American organizations doing everything from workers' rights and environmental sustainability to secondary education, women's advocacy, youth empowerment, and much more.
We aren't limited to one sector of international development. We approach social change through our values.
Nuestras inversiones de impacto lo que buscan es organizaciones sociales, comunitarias en Centroamérica que desarrollen actividades que generen un impacto positivo en esas comunidades.
Most importantly, they have a holistic approach to development with a focus on human outcomes.
Nos organizamos por la discriminación y violencias en contra de nuestros derechos, todo por el machismo patriarcado.
Nosotros queremos salir de todo lo que está sufriendo la juventud en estos días. Y queremos de que esas chicas que ya sean profesionales, que ya tengan una carrera profesional.
Nosotros pues trabajamos con 3 éticas bien importantes, que es el cuidado de la tierra, el cuidado de la gente y cómo compartir los recursos.
Intentamos encontrar una forma de colaboración de manera que nosotros podamos aportar algunos recursos para el trabajo que ellos elaboran, que ellos desarrollan, pero que también ellos puedan compartir un poco sus experiencias y que nosotros también podamos aprender.
Pulsera Project nos está dando la oportunidad de rescatar esos conocimientos que el IMAP hace también.
Desde las primeras reuniones que hicimos fue sembrar la semilla y ahorita ya estamos viendo los primeros frutos de esa semilla. Entonces, si de esa pequeña semilla logramos estos frutos, ¿por qué no sembrar más semilla?
Humility, self-awareness, and solidarity guide every step of how we work in Central America and the United States.
We have learned and benefited as much from the artisans and the organizations we work with as they have received from us.
We started realizing why Central Americans are renowned for their happiness despite the economic realities they confront. Their strong sense of family, the closeness of their communities, and the endurance of the traditions they've held for so long.
We're trying to spread awareness, trying to spread the color, the beauty, the art, the culture.
¿Quién puede imaginar que una pulsera, al aprender eso, puede llegar en muchas cosas y uno puede llegar muy lejos con hacer pulseras?
Creo que Pulsera Project ha sido una especie de escuela, un espacio completo de aprendizaje.
I think about how far-reaching it really can be, just voice to voice and heart to heart.
We're trying to celebrate each strand that each one of us brings to this huge tapestry that is the Pulsera Project.
Entonces es momento de que todos nos concentremos y empecemos a colorear el mundo, porque cada quien va a tener su detalle, va a tener parte de su personalidad en ese proyecto.
Es como un arco iris, ¿verdad? Donde nosotros mostramos pues toda esa diversidad de colores.